Hello.
I.
Whitney Van Cleve, Kaylee Van Cleve here again with Iridium Recruiting, trying to help out with some job hunting questions, unfiltered, uncensored. So, one thing that we get questions on all the time and we fight about a lot is whether or not cover letters are worth it. So, we're gonna duke it out.
No, I don't like cover letters. They are the bane of my existence. But that is my own personal opinion. I do think cover letters take a lot of time for job seekers to write, and so I feel really bad when they don't get opened as often or read as often as they should. But I think Whitney has a really good point on cover letters that sometimes I fail to grasp in my kind of hatred for them.
Oh, I do?
Oh, yeah.
So my stance on cover letters, right, here we go, is if they ask for one, absolutely do one.
You have to.
Do not think you're above the law in that regard. If they require it, write one. Make sure it is well thought out, that it's concise, and I absolutely am of the opinion that your cover letter has two jobs: to highlight who you are and your experience and what you're going to bring to the organization to solve their problems. I think a lot of times people use a cover letter as this memoir space.
It's like a pre-interview thing.
All of that. Yeah. The cover letter is not there for that. It's there to get you through the door in tandem with your resume. So if your resume has a lot of your technical experience and the more nitty-gritty details, you should utilize your cover letter as a space to say, first, let me get in front of myself here for a second. You should have read the job description very carefully. Do not...
And know something about the company.
Yeah, don't waste your time trying to send cover letters that are stock and generic. It doesn't work.
No.
Read the job description. From the job description, take a look at what it is they are looking for. Identify what their pain points are and what their actual needs are. Then, do the twofold approach. Talk about what your experience is and how you can bring that experience to the table to help them solve their problems. That's it, in my opinion. The only other time I think a cover letter is relevant is if you are trying to network your way into a position and you are leveraging a contact within an organization and there's no formal job description out there, then a cover letter is a great way to say, hey, Kaylee,
hi,
here's my background. I'm looking for this type of position. Here are some of my qualifications. I noticed that your organization is looking for this type of person, or I think that I can help solve some of these problems for your organization. I think that works in those cases. But yeah, don't just have a standard cover letter. Like, no.
And I like to advise people not to use the cover letter to describe transitions or gaps in employment. It is not really the most becoming way to kind of handle that communication. And then also, having some creativity in the cover letter is good. So letting personality kind of shine through, because, a resume is a little bit more a formal space. It's wonderful. However, don't kind of push it too far towards like the other side of the line. So like there's personality and then there's personality.
Yeah, so. And there's just sometimes TMI. I've seen cover letters where
that's a great way to say it, TMI.
Yeah, where they list out, all the members of their family and, the loving pets at home or, hobbies and interests. Those things are all great in an interview, let that kind of shine through there. But in a cover letter, it's somebody's full-time job to be reviewing resumes and cover letters, and that's just not a good use of their time. So be mindful of that.
Yes, and be mindful of the tone that you put into a cover letter as well. So make sure that it's professional, it's accommodating. Don't air any kind of bad energy in that space with that letter. I sound like a hippie when I say it that way, but if you've had a rough go trying to find a job for the last 6 months, probably don't reiterate that on your cover letter itself. That's not going to win you any points from the person that's reviewing it.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I will say that's key with cover letters is versus your resume, your cover letter should be in first person. It is okay to use I in those. If you don't, honestly, it's actually weird because you're like, oh,
like, Kaylee was a great experience
with me. You know,
like,
human. Whoa, so weird. It's like, serial killer stuff. So, anyways,
don't be serial killer. Don't be dramatic.
First person. And also have other people review it. You know, that's a big thing. Don't create a cover letter in a vacuum. Don't create your resume in a vacuum. Talk to other people about it. Show people what you're working with, because a lot of times they see assets about you as an individual that you might not necessarily see. So the things that you think you're really stellar at, or it might be your strongest suits, after you talk with other folks, there might be a lot more than you're recognizing. So
correct.
Cover letters. The great debate.
Those things so much. I'm sorry.